choose joy, I choose joy. When betrayal and lies hide the light from my eyes, I look up to the skies. I choose joy, I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. In this moment, right here, I choose joy, I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy, I choose joy. To be who I must be, for the light to shine on me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy, I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. Joy, 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 I choose joy. Like the common ground, peace and hope abound. I hear the sweetest sound, the chains have come unbound. Love is all around, but I choose joy. This moment right here, I choose joy, I choose joy. For the ones that I hold dear, I choose joy, I choose joy. To be who I must be, for the light to shine on me, for everybody to be free. I choose joy, I choose joy, for everybody to be free. When I choose joy, I choose joy. Thank you, Kelly. Love and be the light you shine through us every day. And we are so grateful for this opportunity to join in this together. And so it is. Amen. Please join me in our affirmation, which is on the slide. Together, I am a steward of divine abundance. I give and receive with gratitude. And so it is.
If you'd like to stand, Spirit's journey. Spirit's journey, sailing on the ocean, ocean of oneness, ocean of love. Spirit's journey, learning what we're here for. Here we are together, together in love. We are unity, teaching each other, reaching a hand out, touching a friend. We are unity, growing in wisdom, sharing our vision, growing in love. Spirit journey, seeing new horizons, setting a course for living the truth. Spirit's journey, unity in motion, sailing on the ocean of love.
One, two, three.
Thank you. All right, so I'm not doing double duty here. There we go. Okay, good morning. Y'all know me, you heard me say I'm Yvette Babin Ringsmith. I have a couple of announcements for you this morning. All right, we are very happy to have Reverend Kit Holmes with us again today. Yay. Always fun to look forward to. And next week we'll welcome back Reverend Judy Grimes, and she'll be with us for the last 2 weeks of August. Ellie Johnson, let's see. Libby, I think you have an announcement.
Yes, so Ellie Johnson is a forester. If you were here the day we had the town hall meeting, you learned that we have foresters coming to evaluate our woods out here. We're going to do a little cleaning. We're going to remove some brush and so forth. But Ellie is going to come and give us all kinds of information about our property here. And she'll be here at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, and she says the more the merrier. So anybody that would like to come, you'll get an educational experience out of it as well. But she's going to talk about invasive species, protected species, what's good to remove from the frontage there so that we have a little more vision of the front of the church, and what is not okay to have. We want to be good stewards of our land, as we've talked about before. So if any of you would like to come, meet us here at 3 o'clock Tuesday. It would only be an hour. So if you're nearby and want to come join us and see what Emily Johnson has to say. She's excited. And we're excited. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. World Day of Prayer. The prayer chaplains will be hosting a World Day of Prayer event on Wednesday, September 13th at 7 p.m. The event will include live streaming the open ceremony from Unity Village, followed by an hour of silent prayer. And holding sacred space for congregant prayer requests as well during that time, and everyone is encouraged to attend. This year will be the first Walk for the World, which will be a walking meditation focused on making changes in your life and in the world. We're going to be out there walking a long time, aren't we? All the changes that we want to make in the world. The event will be Saturday, September 23rd at 10 a.m. at Medali Park, which is on the south shore of Boardman Lake, and will last approximately 1 hour. Registration is necessary so that you can get access and download the meditation, which each person will listen to individually as you walk around the lake. Further details will be available in September, but please plan to join us if you can. After starting the day with a walking meditation, you can then end it with the Boomerang Gang in the evening. Time and location will be announced soon, but get the date on your calendars now. Also, there's a sign-up sheet in the hallway for this. Please sign up if you're planning to attend so we can have a count on how many people will be joining. As many of you will remember, this is a potluck event followed by a group discussion on a chosen topic. So that's what the Boomerang Gang is, a potluck event where they gather and discuss different interesting issues. And lastly, but not least, if you know Dick Mallory. And finally, we will be ending our September events with another wonderful evening with Dick Mallory. Dick will be joining us on Saturday, September 30th at 6:30 p.m. The event will be in the amphitheater. Please join us and enjoy the regaling stories of Dick, which will amuse, inspire, and enlighten. There's no charge, but donations are welcome and will go towards the UTC operating budget. I think that's all I have for the announcements. Thank you.
And you can remain seated for the song. As I give, I truly receive. I am a child of God. As I give, I truly receive.
I invite you to take a deep breath and not worry about the microphone. Relax, roll your shoulders back, plant your feet firmly on the ground and feel that earth beneath you. Feel yourself sink into your seat. Feel the back of the chair supporting you. Maybe gently rock your head back and forth, just to loosen up any neck tension you might have. And take one more relaxing breath. We're going to share this morning grace. From the Daily Word, just a couple days ago. So beautiful. Titled, Grace Flows Through Me, to Me, and from me. Grace flows to me, through me, and from me. Grace is such a remarkable gift, a wonderful way to feel God in action. So many times I've received the blessing of divine grace when I couldn't imagine how a problem would resolve or how a bad situation would improve. Grace is the inspiration I feel to pay forward the spontaneous kindnesses that have come my way, often from unexpected or surprising sources. It is the action of the stranger who pays my way or lightens my load, prompting similar actions from me to others. Grace is the nudge from Spirit, telling me to let small irritations go. Extend patience in the face of frustration, and give and serve cheerfully, without expectation of anything in return. Grace only increases the more it is shared. And from John chapter 1, verse 16, from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. I invite you to take that in. Maybe bring to mind an experience of grace in your life, either given or received. How it felt. The impact. The fuller heart that you were left with. And as you bring your awareness back to this present moment, wrapping up those feelings, that fullness of heart, the gratitude you felt. We are so grateful. And so it is. Amen. I'm traveling light now. I've set my sights now on the road that lies ahead. The view is clearing, the call I'm hearing to the road that lies ahead. All those years I lived in fear are gone. Said goodbye. Put my faith in wisdom, grace, and light. There is a map, there is one we all share, to the road that lies ahead. No room for sorrow in my tomorrow, on the road that lies ahead. I may be walking out that door into a stormy night, but I don't care, I'm going where my own sun shines. My own sunshine. I'm traveling right now. I've set my sights now on the road that lies ahead. On the road that lies ahead. On the road that lies ahead. Traveling right now. It is. Thank you so much. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you all for being here this morning. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Roland, for assisting, and Carol, wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you for the volunteers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the greenery, the surrounding, and the greenery that might be removed. Thank you for the clouds, and thank you for the rain, and thank you for a little bit cooler temperatures and that little bitty thing that says fall's coming, and we're going, because we know what comes next. You're in prosperity class, sir. Be careful what you ask for. Oh my goodness. The road that lies ahead. Today I'm talking about passion and how passion fires up our purpose and vice versa, and our purpose should be firing our passion to bring more of what we would love to experience into our lives. We are in the prosperity class. We just finished week 3 this last week, and we were talking about the law of attraction. So, passion, purpose, intentions, attention, expectation, the road that lies ahead. I wrote that song in the end of 2001, so now 22 years ago, coming up on, as I was getting ready to move from Athens, Georgia to Austin, Texas. I had been in the Athens area for 12 years, and the 2 years prior to that were just that kind of, I knew I needed to move, couldn't quite get it going. At the time, I knew I was not ready to move back to Michigan. Michigan is my native state. I wasn't quite ready to come back to that winter, Paul. And I wanted something new adventure. It's like the end of 2001. If you recall, in September of 2001, there was a little event that took place called 9/11. And in that week, that very same week of 9/11, a romantic relationship that I was in ended, and a business partnership and a longtime friendship had ended, all in the same week. And I had been pondering moving on and going someplace, deciding where I needed to go, and when bam, 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 I said, I think I got the message. It's time to move on. Because prior to that was, I'm launching, I knew I needed to change. I knew that it was like, I wasn't fine. I didn't know what my passion was. I was a full-time musician. I had a studio. I was a mastering engineer. I'd been working at that for a long time. I was playing in bands. I was doing all kinds of things, and nothing was really, it was like, come on. I'd get a great gig, and then nothing, and then just like, what's going on? And it was like, you change scenery, basically. Redirect. Get back in touch with what your passion is. And at that time, I was just beginning to learn the craft of songwriting. I'd been a musician all my life. I had my first my first professional gig when I was 13 years old, playing guitar for, if you remember, the musical Free to Be You and Me by Marlo Thomas. Do you remember that? And here me at the big old ripe old age of 13 got asked to play guitar for this production that was being presented to an elementary school. I think I made $20. Musician pay is still about that. Anyway, so moving on. So I'm getting ready. I don't know what is on the road that lies ahead. I know I'm excited. I know I'm scared to death. I know I'm being moved and pushed. That prompting, that urging by Spirit to like, come on, get on with it. And I had just gotten into new thought, the idea that I could have a new thought about Spirit, about my relationship with a God of my understanding. So I was a newbie in all of that. So I was excited, and I'm like, when I get to Austin, I'm going to find the Center for Spiritual Living. At that time, they were called Church of Religious Science, before the rebranding. And I'd gotten the magazine. I'd been turned on to the magazine called Science of Mind a couple years prior to that, and I said, these are my people. All my life, I've been looking for people who think this way and explore and have a passionate desire to know God at depth without all of the dogma and the other things. It was logical to me. There's that mental science. There's that beautiful thing that we now call quantum, the quantum field. So I was excited, and I got in, writing the song was my point A to point B. Not knowing what's coming ahead, but there is a map there. It's one we all share. It's that one mind. It's that one intelligence. It's that one wisdom, that infinite possibility that we can tap into. I didn't know all that when I'm writing the song. It was coming through me. I'm traveling light now. I'm traveling light now. I'm letting go of the things that no longer serve me. I sold everything that I could sell. I kept some family heirlooms and put them in storage. And I got in my big old Dodge Caravan. Yeah, blue Dodge Caravan with my clothes, my music gear, my dog, and my computer and some important papers. And everything else went into storage. It was the first time in my life that I was making that big of a move without a partner, without a job, without anything other than faith. And I was also on the verge of turning 40. And that seems like so young now. And so long ago. But the idea here was that there was that divine urge that was moving me forward. And I said yes. I had visited Austin, Texas, for the first time in 1991 for a conference, a music conference. A little conference that has grown. It's called South by Southwest. It's a big music, now it's film and technology and interactive and so forth. And I got to Austin, I said, there is something here that, like, wow, these are my people, is what I felt. And I went back again in 1994, and it was that same thing. That seemed, wow. And it just took me another 7 years to go, I think that's where I want to go. And in the process of saying yes to that, I only knew at the time, in 2001, I only knew 2 people in the entire state of Texas. And I called them up and I said, and I visited them. That's how I ended up, first time in 91, I went for the conference. I visited my friend that we actually met we both lived in Wisconsin at the time. And we'd stayed in touch, but we weren't close friends. But I said, I think I want to come to Austin. And without hesitation, she said, come work on our ranch in Texas for your room and board till you get on your feet. I said, well, there's kind of an open door sign, isn't it? Maybe I'll follow this. And so I went in December of 2001. I finished up all of my affairs that I could. I had some contracts left and some couple of weddings to do and that kind of thing. And the early part of December of 2001, I got in my van with, like I said, my dog, my computer, my music gear, my clothes, and headed to Texas. And I got in on a Saturday, Sunday morning. I stepped for the first time into the New Vision Church of Religious Science. And for the next, this is probably a familiar story to you that you've shown up in Unity. For the next about 6 months, I cried every time I walked through the doors because I felt like I was home. And from there began a real journey of growth, of healing, of expansion, of getting back in touch with the passion of my purpose. I started going to a lot of songwriting workshops. I started going to a lot of song circles and critique sessions and meeting people in town. Getting to that place of going, I don't know if I'm a good writer or not. I think I am. I think I'm a good musician. I know that I'm gifted in that way, but there's a craft to this. But I'd be sitting in the room with some songwriters that have some pretty impressive credentials, and it was hard not to shrink and go, I'm. But I did a lot of shrinking. That voice of perfectionism was shutting out what my true passion is and was. But I kept at it, and I kept at it, and I kept at it. And a couple years after I was there, and a couple years of being in the New Vision Church of Religious Science, I started playing a couple of my songs. And a couple months or several months after that, there was some, what would be the equivalent of a licensed Unity teacher in Unity, a licensed religious science practitioner, started introducing me to people and saying, this is Kit Holmes, she's a New Thought songwriter. And I said, what is that? What does that mean? 2 years after that, the annual conference, at the time, Church of Religious Science was 2 organizations. There was United Church and there was the International Church. And at the time, it was kind of never the twain shall meet. It was kind of like unity in Science of Mind along the way, that you weren't allowed to speak in one or the other places. So much for oneness and unity, we were like, you can't be here. But the cool part of it is that it was the musicians who were cross-pollinating. So in 2007, I got invited to participate because in the International Church of Religious Science, their annual conference was going to be held in Austin, Texas. And the local said, they knew enough about me, they said, "Do you want to participate?" And I walked in, and I met Karen Drucker. And I got to play with Karen Drucker. And I met David Alt. In fact, I was at David Alt's ordination in 2007. If you know who David Alt is, Reverend David Alt. And Donna Michael, and like the list went on and on and on and on. And I didn't know who any of these people were. But I just kind of sauntered in like, here I'm doing my thing. And that was like, here we go. The road that lies ahead, the next step. I kept saying yes, I kept saying yes. And I kept saying yes primarily to the inner work. Understanding who I am in relation to, why am I here, what am I doing, what are these patterns that I have in my life that keep me from not shrinking. To stand in my light, to stand in my power. And I started taking classes, and I started doing all these other things and learning and really like deep diving into metaphysics and into the science of mind text. And then along the way, I didn't even know that unity it existed until 2004. And a colleague said, "You got to come down here. The music is fantastic." And that's where I was introduced to the music of Ricky Byers. And the whole slew of them. And here was this next, wow, who are these people? They're writing about the same thing. So my writing, I wasn't doing it intentionally, but my writing was about my healing. As I was growing in consciousness, my writing was about my healing. And I kept on, but I kept pulling back. And I was going to these songwriting circles in Austin, Texas, and there's guys with big cowboy hats and guitars and shiny boots and pressed jeans and all this. And I would like, do I share this song or do I not? It was my authentic self coming through, but it was that, but they're going back and forth to Nashville, and they're playing on Austin city limits, and and I kept like, I don't fit. That message of I don't fit. But I would bring a song, and the air and the energy in the room would change immediately. I said, wow, they're really listening. Oh, crap. And I wasn't playing in the bar bands that I was playing in my 20s and 30s. I refused. I focused my intention when I moved to Austin, Texas, was I want to get better at being a songwriter. I'm not going to get into a band just because I can. I am tired of playing cover tunes. And trust me, I have played the gamut. From country to R&B to everything else in between, to rock, to all of it. It wasn't mine to do anymore. That's why the gigs weren't coming. I wasn't doing me. I wasn't doing my true voice. I wasn't bringing my purpose through in the way that I've grown into be able to do it now. But I kept playing, and I kept playing, and I kept playing. And so I started to learn this whole thing about the law of attraction. How does this work? How do all of these spiritual laws work? That was the first thing, one of the first things like in the Science of Mind book, the great big thick textbook, was all these laws. I'm like, well, is there a list somewhere? Like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? How does it work? Essentially, there are these immutable laws that we work with every day. Most of them we don't know exist. Most of them we are unaware of them. We are unconscious in how we are operating with them. The biggest one being the law of attraction. You've heard the phrase, what we think about, we bring about. Our thoughts are creative. What you resist persists. I did a lot of resisting, and guess what I got more of? Resistance. So I started to see, well, this kind of works, and this kind of works, and this kind of, well, look at that, look at that. In 2010, I had the opportunity, actually 2007, that same beautiful year that I met Kieran Drucker. A musician, songwriter, actually he came from Detroit. His name is Eddie Watkins Jr. And he's a pretty big deal in New Thought music. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know he had just started. He had been a musician in Motown since he was a teenager and had this storied career. But he showed up on the cover of the magazine, the Science of Mind magazine. And I felt, again, that pull, that urge, and I said, I'm going to play with him one day. Well, it turns out in 2007, I went to Unity Village for a little music conference called the Posies. And I met this woman, and this is that yes saying, yes saying, yes saying, yes thing. Sight unseen, she said, I bet you're a really good musician. I want you to come to Las Vegas and play at Unity. We're doing a fundraiser. I'm like, you haven't even heard me play yet. She said, I don't need to. I can tell. Talk about stepping out in faith. She is still a very, very dear friend of mine. And in 2007, I went out to Las Vegas to do that fundraiser for the Unity of Las Vegas. And just so happens that down the road, across town, Eddie Watkins is the music director at the CSL in Las Vegas. And so I kind of tentatively called my friend and said, do you think you could introduce me so maybe I could like bookend my Sundays while I'm in Las Vegas? She did. She called and she said, well, he's already got that Sunday booked, but how about this? I've invited him to co-headline with you for our fundraiser. Saying yes to the what would you love, the passion, the thing that that makes your heart go, it scares the bejesus out of you, but it also excites you. That is the energy that we are looking for in the law of attraction. And it can be that quick. It can be that lightning fast where it's like you have a thought, it's connected, you are aligned with it, and you go, wow, wouldn't that be cool? And the next thing you know, it has manifested. Not because you were staying in the affirmation, not because you were trying to make it happen, not because you were doing everything to, I'm going to do this whole thing and I'm going to make this happen. No, it's because you let it go. You let go of the how. That's how it works. We get aligned with it and then we turn it over, and that is the hardest part for us, is it not? To let it go and let God do what God does so well. Oh my goodness. I'll share with you just something that happened this last week. I'm doing my vision statement along with everybody else that is in prosperity class right now. And I've been doing vision statements now since 2015 when I was training with Mary Morrison, when I was doing the work with her. And to the best of my ability, I try to revise them every year. Sometimes it goes longer, sometimes I let life get in the way, and I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. And I get off track. So I circle around. So I was speaking my vision statement out this last week. I'm so happy and grateful now that the usual suspects kind of things like that. And in one little thing, and this awareness came to me after it happened, but it came really quickly. I was walking through my house, and I can tell you where I was. I was walking right in from my kitchen into the living room, and I'm speaking my vision statement out loud. And I just happened to look up, and I said that I'm in the world. Essentially, I'm in the world doing as a speaker, as a musician, as a songwriter, and so forth and so on. And the little piece that came out said arranger, because I love doing arrangements. I love writing musical arrangements. And it was just that quickly, and it came out, and it was like, yeah, because I like being an arranger. We had class, y'all that are in class, Thursday night. Friday, I get a text from the music director at CSL in San Jose, California. She said, I would like to purchase the sheet music of your arrangement of the peace song. I said, okay, God, I get it. What a gift. I mean, and it was the recognition of, I had set that out, and I spoke to her yesterday because I had sent it to her in the email and it got lost in her spam folder, and I resent it. So we're having this little conversation. I said, so how did you even know to get a hold of me to ask for this? And she said, you put it out to the minister's listserv in March of 22, a year ago, because there was a discussion about within the ministers about, we get tired of the peace song. Can we do something that is an alternative? And in a moment of saying yes to inspiration, to intuition, I had sent back to the minister's listserv, here's my version and arrangement of the peace song. This woman's minister had forwarded it to her a year and however many months ago. And it was time she wanted to sing it. She's singing it this morning in San Jose, California. So we don't ever know what or when it will materialize, where it will show up, but that saying yes connects the dots in ways that we can never, I know that I could never do so. If I sat down with a spreadsheet and said, no, it's not going to happen. So here was this beautiful thing. I told you about meeting Eddie Watkins and playing in Las Vegas, and I got to play with him. I didn't find out till that day that he'd only been doing New Thought music for about a year. Because I was so like, oh my God, I'm intimidated. I was like, here's this guy, right? So a little while after that experience, I became aware of a conference called Asilomar in Asilomar, California. It's a state park, and it's a beautiful place, right on the ocean. And Centers for Spiritual Living had their annual retreat, both United and International. And they were just getting back together when the two organizations had merged in 2011. And then we had all this time in COVID, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, that urge was like, God, I want to go. I want to play. I want to be on the stage at Asilomar. So Eddie's in Las Vegas. Meet him a couple times. I start going up to the CSL in Seattle, Kathy Ann Lewis's place. Big place at the time. Well, all of a sudden, it turns out that Eddie just changed jobs, and he's the music director in Seattle. So I got there for a couple of gigs, and that was back in the days when churches used to have 2 services. In fact, I think we did 3 in Seattle. There were so many people. And between services, we were just sitting there chatting, and I said something about, I'd really love to play with Asilomar someday. And he said, well, I've already got the music team together. Oh, by the way, I'm the music director for Asilomar this year. And he says, I've already got the music team picked, but I can get you, if you're coming out there, I can put you in a featured spot just to get you in front of people. So it just so happened that my colleague and very good friend was graduating from ministerial school that year, and they all went to Asilomar. When you do your paneling, you would go to Asilomar, everybody in one place, your oral panels. And my friend classmate was Michael Gott from Dallas at the time. Now he's in Houston, at Unity of Houston. So we're going out there anyway. We're going out there for my friend's graduation. So yeah, I'm going to be in Asilomar. Eddie says, come on. Saying yes. Saying yes. Paying attention to those deep, deep longings. The deep discontent. That kind of energy, when you feel it in your gut, you're like, oh, God, I would love to do that. That is the intention that spiritual law, that the universal law hears and says yes. Because that is what the law does. It only knows yes. It doesn't say, well, maybe that. No, that is the arbitrary nothing. I fixed it. Okay. So you get what I'm saying is that, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when you've reached a goal. It doesn't stop when you find the love of your life. It doesn't stop when you get that job of your dreams. It doesn't stop when you get the dream home. You're here, and then Spirit says, all right, you know how to play, and you know how to play big. So here you go. Let's do some more. Because the nature of nature and the nature of God is for a ever-evolving level of expression, expansion. God needs us, as Ricky Byers' song says in Use Me. God needs us. God needs us to express itself. God needs us to shine its light. That's the lyric. And God needs us to shine its light as you, as me. It's in us, folks. It is in us. We cannot make it go out of us. God is in us. That's a pretty powerful thing to know. Because when we know that, everything else kind of falls away. I know I said this last week. If God is my source and I believe in the God I say I do, I cannot fail. I think Charles and Myrtle said that. I think Ernest Holmes has said that. I think everyone in this teaching, in these principles, knows that. If we can grasp anything, and that comes from Scripture too, if you want to gain anything, gain understanding. With all of your getting, get understanding. Figure out what your relationship is, knowing that there is one to begin with. And then the next thing is you get that more of the urge, more of the guidance, more of the direction, and you take the next step, and we have to take the next step. We know this is the process. We cannot just sit and meditate and say, help me, help me, help me. It's the old joke. The guy praying to God, help me win the lottery. God, help me win the lottery. Week after week after week. God, help me. Please help me. I want to win the lottery. And finally, this voice comes down from heaven that says, buy a ticket. If you want to win, you got to play. And as we talk and we're learning about in the teaching of the prosperity class, you are going to get results no matter how many more days you live. You will have some kind of results in your life. The beauty is with this beautiful, powerful teaching, we get to co-create those results. We don't just have to sit here and go, okay, not making a decision is still a decision. I'm not going to choose. I'm going to let somebody else decide for me. Oh, how does that work? Ooh. It might feel safe in the short run, but it's not for your highest and best. It's not for my highest and best. So I invite you this next week to just swim around in the question, what would I love? What is my passion? What am I passionate about? Not what is my passion. What am I passionate about? Open it up and let it come through. I'll leave you with one last little thing. There was a very successful businessman who posted a video on social media of kids playing on a Lamborghini, crawling all over it, jumping on it, so forth. Very successful businessman. And he says, there's nothing more important in the world than joy of a curious child. Happiness, seeing the happiness on a kid's face. And in the video he's saying, so I don't mind they're jumping on this car and crawling all over it and exploring it and being curious about it. Except for the fact that the Lamborghini wasn't his, and neither were the kids. So, thank you for letting me be here again today. Namaste.
Thank you, Kit. As always, an inspirational message. I feel like I need to run out and get co-creating right now. And then I remember, I am in this moment co-creating, right? Thank you. This is now our time of offering, the time to share our financial gifts with the ministry. As children of loving God, we live in the light of abundance. deeply grateful for all that's been given and all that is to come. We embrace the good that God provides with joy and thanksgiving. So let's speak together our prosperity blessing. Together, God is my unfailing source. I stand steady and sure in the face of uncertainty, confident that divine ideas will assure my prosperity. So it is.
All right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Wrong key. Sorry. I'm getting up early, getting down to business. I'm getting up early, getting down to business. My eyes wide open as my feet hit the floor. Opportunities knocking on my front door. Getting up early, getting down to business. I got a lot of don'ts on my list of to-dos. Like don't hang around with folks who like bad news. They try to stir me up with worry and fear. I say, get your sad selves away from here. Got a lot of don'ts on my list to do. Ain't no stopping me now that I'm going. Ain't no hiding all the things that need showing. I'm bringing my best into this world. If you wanna feel the love, then I'm your girl. Ain't no stopping me now that I'm going. I'm getting up early, getting down to business. I'm getting up early, getting down to business. My eyes wide open as my feet hit the floor. Opportunities knocking on my front door. Getting up early, getting down to business. I'm getting up early, getting down to business. I'm getting up early, getting down to business.
Just keeps coming. That's awesome. Thank you so much. What a gift this morning. So as we close our service, just a couple of things to remind you of. We always have our prayer chaplains available, one up here, one in the hallway as you're headed back for fellowship. Please feel free to join one of them for one-on-one individual prayer. They are a lovely service and very gifted. Also, if you are a guest here for the first time, we do have packets of information from our ushers on your way out of the sanctuary, so please feel free to ask them for one of those. And now we'd like to gather in our closing circle for some prayer requests and our song, our peace song. What do you think? Think we need to move in one row, or do you think we're good? Assessing the arm lengths of everyone. Good morning. What do you think? Libby, do you think we can scoot right in here, or do you think we're good? Think we're good? Oh, we're good. We got it. All right. We are connected in hearts and minds, even if we cannot touch one another's hands. All right. So you're invited to share into the circle any prayer requests you may have for this week. in our prayers for the highest good, the highest result, and love from above. Let's speak together our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Could I have the mic on at the Okay, nope, not yet. There we are. There we are. I'm going to ask, this is just coming through for me right now. I'm going to ask you if you would like to hear my arrangement of the peace song. Okay. And you can hold hands. I'm not going to make you hold hands through the whole time. It's a little bit different. It's in 4, but you'll get it. I'm just throwing this on the guys right now because I didn't know Carol's not able to do peace song for us today. So here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, we are family. Let us walk with each other, perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin. If you could give me a let it begin. Oh, let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. Thank you. Have a great Sunday, everybody.